Hello everyone, my name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. Every October for the last few years, I have shared a homebrewed Dungeons & Dragons monster with all of you, and this year is no different. Also, every year there's at least one day that I fall behind, which would have been yesterday. So, here is your October Monster Day, one day late, for October 21st, 2023. Here in week 3, what we have been doing is going over named knights that work for the Waning Court. The Waning Court being a group of homebrewed fae that I use for a horror-based Dungeons & Dragons campaign that really focuses on folk horror, body horror, and cosmic horror. We've covered knights from all the various orders that work for the Waning princes and princesses who are in control of the Waning Court. We covered one of the mercenaries yesterday who will change allegiance based on the pay that he will get. Today we're going to cover another knight that has no direct allegiance to any of the prince or princesses, and that's Lady Blackshield. First, so let me go ahead and recap the Waning Knights in general. They're all CR 10, though the ones this week are CR 11 because they have some spicy extra abilities. They all have resistance to at least lightning, thunder, and weapon damage that is not magical nor silver. They all have Aura of Arrogance, so when they're missed with an attack, that attacker has disadvantage on further attacks against them until end of round because they're just that arrogant. They all have ephemeral mean, which means because they're so strange and alien and not of this world, they can move through difficult terrain without any difficulty, and can Misty Step once per day, but once they do, their speed becomes 0 until end of turn. They have magic resistance. They also have prideful stride, so whenever they reduce a creature to 0 hit points, they can make a dash action. And most of them do carry a throne shard sword, which is made from a shard of the King Under Amber's throne, the former ruler of the Waning Court. Though Lady Blackshield, we're going to cover here in a moment, is a little bit different in that regard. Crafted from chitin, this solemn knight's plate armor has been painted a stark black time and time again by inept strokes. It and her torn gauze tabard have also been struck of any heraldry, for Lady Blackshield serves the King Under Amber alone, who is indisposed, basically just an invalid who is slowly dying and trapped in amber. Her true name has been struck from all records as well, and she hides behind a thin veil attached to a crooked crown. With her liege forever imprisoned and fated to die, she answers to no one but her conscience. Yet, Lady Blackshield toils for the Waning Court's best interests without hope of reward or rest. She just as often clashes with the Waning Prince's plans as she aids them, and many of them would love to see her taken off the board. However, they fear what sort of curse may be placed upon their head for doing so. A mistress of fear, Lady Blackheart slices through foes with ease, and those that survive often find themselves encased the same way that her lord is, in blood amber, which leads one to wonder. Let's go ahead and look at this Black Knight's statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Again, she is a CR 11. She has a plethora of skills. She wears plate armor, which doesn't get any benefit from her high dexterity, but is just really there for aesthetic purposes. She has immunity to Charmed and Frightened. Now, this plate mail is the Whaler's Mantle. It does not give her disadvantage on stealth checks, nor does it have a strength requirement. And as long as she's wearing it, any creature that begins their turn within 10 feet of her that is also frightened has its speed reduced to 0 and takes 1d10 psychic damage. She has multi-attack, so she can make 3 attacks as one action, and any of these she can substitute using Black Days, which we'll cover in a moment. She has the Amberheart Blade, which is a unique weapon to her. It is a powerful artifact that deals 1d10 slashing damage plus necrotic damage, but whenever someone is hit by it, they have to make a saving throw or have their speed reduced by 10 feet. If it reduces the creature's speed down to 0, they are encased in amber and basically placed in suspended animation until that amber is somehow broken at a later date. She does also carry a Deadwood Lance. As mentioned earlier, she does have Black Days, which she can target a creature she can see within 30 feet who must succeed on a charisma save or be frightened of her for the next minute, and at the end of each turn they can repeat this save. She is a pretty simple antagonist that's really based on fear and slowing people down, and that can be quite deadly over time, most certainly. Likewise, there is the mystery of the Amberheart Blade and what it has to do with the King Under Amber. Some think that perhaps she is the one that slew the king, more or less, for some sort of transgression against her. Others think that she might know who the true killer is and took up their blade and is seeking justice in a Dark Knight kind of way. Really, it's up to the storyteller what sort of story might be behind Lady Blackshield and why she takes the actions that she does. I hope you enjoyed the Fairy Nights this week and hope that they inspire some antagonists for your own homebrewed game. I find it always very fun to kind of think about the personalities you can put onto a monster to make them unique antagonists overall that your players will remember. Now, starting on the 22nd, which would normally be tomorrow, but it's actually today because I am, again, a day late, we're going to be covering Universal Antagonists, which I do every fourth week of October. And these will not be Waning Court themed, but it's going to stick with either folk horror and or cosmic horror themes, and they draw from various monsters from films, movies, books, and the like, just reskinned for Dungeons & Dragons, and, the name has been changed a little bit. So I really hope that you tune in and enjoy those, but I hope more that you have a wonderful rest of the day. I really do appreciate your time and your attention. Don't forget, you can always go to boxofteeth.blogspot.com to see all the creatures I've created that are horror themed for Dungeons & Dragons, which are all perfectly free. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons content that I've made, including books that I've written, like Grease Paint right there, it's got a killer clown. It's a good read for the Halloween season. You can always go to www.zacharyoshay.com. I will see you later on today with a brand new monster.